holistic self-awareness, or the experience of the oneness of all and everything as blissful consciousness, a truthful perception of reality. But it also informs us that the objective polarity is the default dominant in relative reality, which means by default we are imbalanced to the objective polarity. We're imbalanced to the world that surrounds us of forms of life, of forms of consciousness. And in order to create balance, we have to emphasize the non-dominant polarity, the subjective. And so what do you do when you meditate? You close your eyes. You focus subjectively. The balance is created proportional to the balance you sustain. Your holistic self-awareness expands and you have a more truthful experience of reality as blissful, peaceful, joyous energy, joyous consciousness. So that's the classical meditative construct. And then we could look at that and say, okay, how do we bring in technology and science in a more relevant modern understanding of the same context? So let's first look scientifically. And let's say, okay, how about we look at the primary brain-mind computer in terms of this classical context of relative reality, balance, imbalance. Well, modern science, Nobel Prize winning work all the way back to Prigogine and others has greatly informed us on this matter. It tells us that the same relative reality, the same relative construct can be seen in our own brain. It has two hemispheres, left brain, right brain. Left brain is the objective polarity, right brain is the subjective polarity. The default dominant polarity in relative reality is the objective. Have you heard the term left brain dominant? Human beings are left brain dominant. We are more focused consistently outside of ourselves than we are inside of ourselves. And this is called brain lateralization. And because we maintain brain lateralization, by default, we are very fragmented in our experience, and our perception of reality is very fragmented. Science will tell you we don't perceive true reality. We perceive a limited version of true reality. It's sort of like using 10% of your brain compared to 100% of your brain. It's a very limited experience of life. When we can bring the two polarities of the brain, right brain and left brain, into balance, what happens? The whole brain lights up. It's called whole brain synchrony. We go from brain lateralization through the principle of balance to whole brain synchronization. Not only does the brain light up like a Christmas tree, but our perception of reality radically shifts. And what do we perceive? We can then perceive the essence, the oneness of life as a joyous energy. What we thought was solid, what we thought we were separate and different from, is now all moving and fluxing and dancing particles of light. Everything is one blissful consciousness, but only when we can maintain whole brain synchrony can we enjoy whole brain function and whole brain experience. Can we become superhuman in that context? But another interesting thing happens when you maintain balance and the brain lights up in whole brain synchrony. It actualizes the pineal gland and brings it into greater actualization. Pineal gland is a master gland of the endocrine system and is responsible for our most powerful neurochemicals. DMT, endorphins, light up the pineal through balance in your brain and whole brain synchrony. You want to talk about euphoria, you want to talk about pleasure, you want to talk about the drug experience that is innate to your own brain. It's as available to you as the balance you sustain moment by moment by moment. No wonder the ancient masters and yogis used to say, it's a blissful experience. You stay in the cave all those hours balancing through meditative construct, light up your pineal gland, and you'll be as blissful as they are. And I can assure you, I have met many such masters. My journeys took me to the East. They took me all over this planet, and I studied with many of them. And I sat with them for 5 minutes, and their state of being was infectious. Just being in their presence and trained me into the same balance in my own brain and the same production of more neurochemical opiate. And before I knew it, the rocks underneath my feet were loving me, and everything was blissful, and I couldn't stop smiling, and I couldn't stop laughing, and I said, I got to know what this is. I got to understand the mechanics. I got to figure this out. And so I glued myself to the feet of one of these masters and spent 12 years as a disciple. And that took me to an exploration of the experience, the mechanics of it, which is mostly what I'm sharing with you here and now. It took me back to the cave experience. I studied the yogis in the caves in the Himalayas. I wanted to know not only what experience they had, but what the environment of the cave did that was conducive to them having that experience. And I studied all of the parameters, went back to the oldest of the philosophical systems upon which their practice was based, and learned that it was all about balance, you know. The Buddha used to teach the golden balance. If you learn nothing else, he said, learn the principle of balance. If you can maintain it, your wholeness is proportional to it. And that's the experience, really, that we're talking about. So how can we then harness technology to support us in the times in which we're living to sustain this balance? That's what's really important. Now let's look at technology then in relation to balance. Balancing technologies are like whole brain or brain wave entrainment technologies, and they've been well researched for the last 100 years or so. And if you know what you're doing with such bicameral, binaural entrainment sonic technologies, you can entrain the two sides of your brain into a brainwave profile that corresponds to meditative construct. It's simply knowing the meditative EEG and what that looks like, composed of beta, alpha, theta, and delta. The awakened mind profile was mapped many, many years ago in research. We know what it is, and we now have the technologies to be able to deliver that experience with great precision and efficiency. Sort of the difference between riding in a horse and buggy or a modern automobile. Both will get you where you're going, but one will get you there more efficiently and faster. And so it is with technology. It delivers more precision and more efficiency to our experience. But you have to be careful with entrainment technologies. You really have to know what you're doing. And if you stay on the cutting edge of them and you become masterful in their application, then you can use such technologies based on the meditative construct and you can encode them into musical soundtracks or white noise soundtracks, and you can play them with headphones or without in a meditative context and deliver a precision meditative experience of balance, wholeness, and fulfillment every time you use them. And they show us in research that they will deliver a 4-fold acceleration factor over low-tech means of meditation. Ta-da! Meditation is now relevant to the times in which we live. Harness technology to support the evolution of your consciousness. And do you only have to use it sitting cross-legged for an hour a day or 15 minutes a day or whatever you can manage? The answer is no. Technology has now evolved to the point that it can be used 24/7. I started the use of technology 35 years ago. I created the first applications of it, and I was the primary guinea pig. I used it on myself, and I think that's my only claim to fame, is that I've consistently used it on myself for 35 years. And the result is the consistency of my own balance, my own wholeness, my own fulfillment, and a more truthful experience of reality. But I started in the days of analog, and I've stayed on the cutting edge of it now into the digital age. We started with cassette tapes, and when it was first marketed under the name Synchronicity High-Tech Meditation, the advertising slogan was, "To meditate, push play." Simple, really simple. Well, we've come through cassette tapes and CDs to MP3s to apps, to everything that is the cutting edge of such technology. And now it's as simple as having it on your iPod or your smartphone in your pocket, and you don't even need headphones anymore. You don't even need to hear it. It can just be on play in your pocket. And it will sustain your balance 24/7 in the midst of whatever you are doing. And this is the real meditation. This is what the masters will tell you. They say, yeah, we have to sit all those hours for many years to develop the constancy of the experience. But once it becomes constant, meditation goes from an hour or two a day to the 24-hour-a-day meditation. And that state of constancy is what they termed enlightenment. And now in our times, enlightenment has never been so easy. It's as available to us as the smartphone in our pocket. So we can talk about technology here forever and ever. We can talk about the philosophy of it, the meditative construct, everything that so far we have been sharing, or we could experience it. And that's what I'd like to invite you to do with me now, is just to have an experience of this technological form of meditation. And here's the good news. You're already experiencing it. Because while I have been speaking, the technology has been playing. And if I pause for just a moment, you can hear this sort of ocean in the background, white noise. And I've been playing a very light technology called alpha level technology. It's the beginning of synchrony in the brain. When you first begin to relax and de-stress a little bit, and a little bit of awareness helps your focus. And so you might notice the difference from when you first came in and sat down, and you might be a little more relaxed. You might be a little more endorphin. You might think you're a little sleepy, or maybe I'm a little boring and you're tuning out. It's just the technology and the effect that it's having on your brain of drawing it more into the alpha range, the beginnings of the balance that allows the awareness to expand and the neurochemical opiation to increase. So this is just, let's call this very light meditation, okay? I'd like to take us now into a deeper application of it, where we'll move it down into the theta and upper delta level. Sort of like sleep. I'm going to put you to sleep. Meditation's very much like sleep in terms of an EEG, except it has another component to it that allows you to stay awake while you're deeply asleep according to the EEG measurement of your brain. So we're going to bring you down into that lower level that corresponds to the rejuvenation and the pleasure of sleep time experience, but in a pure meditative EEG, so that you'll be able to stay awake. For example, sleep is about the most pleasurable experience that we have as human beings. Just think about it every day when you have to get up, or you wake up in the night and it's, so pleasurable. Radical endorphination, radical opiation, DMT secreting every hormone it's got, dreams, DMT, whoa, and you have to come out of that and wake up and let that go. Oh no. Meditation's the same, but you're awake. Can you go to that level of pleasure 24/7? Can you live high on life with no synthetic drugs, your own drugs? Yes, that's the potential of this technology. So this is what we're going to explore in a short little demonstration of it. So if you're willing, I'd like to proceed to that now. Maybe we'll do 10 minutes or so. Is that okay? Now, your only responsibility in this meditation is the same responsibility I gave you at the beginning, which is to observe your breathing, which, of course, you've all been doing as I've been speaking. Just observing that you're breathing right here, right now, alive, breathing. Breath is life, life is consciousness, breath, life, consciousness, only ever experienced in the now of their happening. We're here and it is now. So I want you to just observe your breathing while I play some really nice music and change the technology a little bit. And maybe we could lower the lights, if that's possible, so nobody will see us meditating. Oh, very good. And we'll just sit comfortably, listen to the music, and watch ourselves breathe for a few minutes, okay? Whenever you're ready, Maestro. as we bring our meditation to its completion, I want you to just observe your experience. Just observe how you feel, what your experience of life, of reality, of yourself is in this moment. Nothing right, nothing wrong, nothing to do or not do, rather just to be. As Socrates would say, no definitions are necessary. As the Buddha would say, just be, it's the greatest miracle. The brilliance of the consciousness that we are is that it can turn its awareness back upon itself and be aware of itself being. Just observe yourself being and be grateful for the life that empowers you, that you might be more clearly perceiving in this very moment. And as we transition out of the meditation now, I'll just have a couple of concluding remarks. I want you to stay with your experience and keep breathing, being, watching and listening. The experience speaks for itself. This is modern spirituality in the digital age. Spirituality is consciousness in the singularity of its happening, aware of itself being as all and everything, and harnessing technology for the evolution of consciousness speaks for itself. So I'm here again to encourage you not to unplug, but to continue using technology unto the greater evolution of the consciousness of the humanity of this planet. I've been called the high-tech guru and the electronic mystic and a host of other names that you wouldn't imagine, and interviewed by the media all over this world. But one thing they said of me I like, and it's this: he'll never win a Grammy, but he's gone platinum with meditation. And that's very fulfilling to me, for I've been able to assist hundreds of thousands of people to find their way to meditation in a context relevant to the times in which we live, and to be more masterful in their experience of being human. And so I'm happy to have shared the same experience with you. To make it simple, I'm not here to sell you anything. It's free. It's as simple as finding the app and downloading it. And so I had them make these cards, which you can have, that tell you exactly how to get it for free. The most important thing is try it. If it resonates with you today, use it based on your experience. As simple as putting it in your pocket, playing it 24/7. The app I'm recommending is called Now the Technology. Indeed, enlightenment has never been so easy. So I'm happy to have shared with you today. It has been my honor to be with you. And as requested, if you have any questions, I'm happy to address them now.